Marvel's Blood Hunt is in full swing, with the world thrown into darkness and under attack from a new group of vampires. It seems like a really cool event, but it's not that story I want to talk about, at least not yet. Instead, there is a throwaway line in issue 1 of Blood Hunt that piqued my interest. Captain America mentions a land of vampires created by Dracula, and it is about this kingdom I want to talk about here, with its origins found in Avengers 14 to 17 from 2019. It was Iron Man who discovered Dracula in a Russian prison years ago. It was there that Dracula stated his wish to live out his life in peace, one that was met with derision by not only Iron Man, but the Russian authorities too. However, this Dracula doesn't look like the feared monster we all know, not the terrifying overlord forged in centuries of blood and violence. No, this Dracula is a tired and weak reflection of himself. One forced from his home in Transylvania, becoming a refugee looking for shelter. For it appeared that a vampire civil war had broken out, with a group of incredibly powerful vampires called the Legion of the Unliving attacking and destroying Dracula's castle, causing him to flee. The absence of Dracula caused a power vacuum in the vampire community, with the Avengers struggling to contain incidents all over the world. The Legion of the Unliving, led by the Shadow Colonel, continued their murderous campaign against other vampires, almost wiping out the peaceful vampire colony in Madripoor before the Avengers intervened. Their main quarry, however, still eluded them. By this point, Dracula had made his way to the Russian border, only to be met by Darkstar and Vanguard of the Winter Guard. The siblings arrest him there and then and take him to one of Russia's top security prisons. As mentioned, it's here that Dracula tries to bargain with Russian authorities for land in return for information. The Red Widow has other ideas, demanding information and forcing a visibly upset Dracula to watch as she slaughters his consorts in front of him. The Avengers manage to beat the Legion of the Unliving, with Blade beheading the Shadow Colonel, ending the immediate threat of any further vampire uprisings. Back in the prison, the Russians, having got all the information they need from Dracula, decide to give him some land in which to see out his days in. They decide to give him Chernobyl, the site of the 1986 nuclear disaster. Dracula is unceremoniously dumped there, but rather than seeming beaten, he seems determined, and is shortly joined by the Legion of the Unliving. This whole vampire civil war had been orchestrated all along by Dracula, who had put his son, Zarus, in charge of the Legion. His plan worked, and now Dracula and the others can start to build a new nation. Now, we've not heard too much about the nation since then, except they've been getting stronger, recruiting, and growing larger in number. For what purpose, no one is sure. What we do know is the vampire nation is joined by some really powerful beings from the Legion of the Unliving. Sarge, a hellhound, is incredibly powerful and used his demonic powers to bring Ghost Rider to heal. Then you have Snow Snake, a deadly 300-year-old vampire from Japan, and she fights with 2 katanas. And then there's the Rat Bomber, who uses, well, rats to bomb things. But he has an array of different tech, which makes him unusual in the vampiric world, but gives the vampire nation new methods to commit violence. Dracula too has got more powerful in that time, having got some of Wolverine's blood, allowing him to be out in the sunlight. I do want to address the elephant in the room though. With Russia giving Dracula Chernobyl, that's Chernobyl in Ukraine. Okay, so the story was written in 2019, but it does seem like there was a lack of understanding, with maybe a little bit of laziness on the part of Jason Aaron. Obviously, Russia had no right to give that land, and definitely something that would not have gone unnoticed by Ukraine given the historical tensions between the two countries. And to be really nitpicky, it's weird that Dracula fled the Carpathian Mountains, go to Russia, travelling, maybe 1,000 kilometres, presumably through Moldova and Ukraine. Now, Dracula wasn't planning to set up a nation in Chernobyl, otherwise he would have pled his case in Kiev. I suspect the writers just wanted to feature the Winter Guard and to use Chernobyl, so just didn't go into any detail about it. What I do think was really excellent writing, however, was the Red Widow torturing Dracula through the deaths of his consorts for information. After divulging links to powerful leaders and politicians and who he has power and sway over, Dracula swears on his children he knows no more, and the Red Widow relents, releasing him. However, As readers, we get to see Dracula chuck away the still just about alive head of his son who did everything in his power to bring Dracula's plan to life. Dracula cares not for others, not even his children. And that suggests that he lied to the Red Widow. He does have more secrets locked up in his head, ready to use and manipulate others for his cause. So the Vampire Nation is an interesting part of the larger Marvel lore, adding yet another element that future writers will be able to dip into for story ideas. And I can't see the Vampire Nation sitting out the blood hunt, fully expect them to make an appearance soon. But what I do know for sure is Dracula isn't tapping out anytime soon. He's still as ruthless and conniving as ever.